The next thing that this season requires for you to be effective after this is to pick up your staff. When Moses went to pray, God said, "What you crying out to me for? Pick up your staff." What does your staff represent? It represents your history with God. It represents the thing that you've been through. So you can pick up your staff because you've seen me work miracles with this staff before. That's when you pick it up, it should have a level of confidence. You should be in a space where you can pick that thing up and realize that the testimony is not just a cute thing to say in service. See, I grew up in church when it was called devotion, where they get up and they sing their testimonies, and it'd be a line where everybody giving their testimony, and that was cute in church. But what happens is we've reduced the testimony to something postable on Instagram. Your testimony is an intricate part of your overcomer arsenal. How can I say that? Revelation 12:11 says this. They're talking about the war in heaven. "And they conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." Conquered the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. So who's going to be the enemy? You going to be the enemy? Okay. So this is what's going to happen. Okay, I need you to go down here. Now where Sanchez is, he's down in the promise. Okay? So Warren is going to represent what most of us, where we are in life. So step back just a little bit. So this is where a lot of us start. This is you in sin, right? Notice, y'all silly. Notice the distance that the enemy is when you're in this position. See, we think because we don't have no issues when we're here, this is the place to be. But he don't have to come after you if he already got you here, right? So what happens is you get tired of this and you decide to make a destiny move. Step right here. Now, soon as you step out and make a destiny move, here comes the enemy. He focuses his attention. Come on to him. And the first thing that the enemy does in this season is try to distract you. So put your arm around him and point him back here to remind him about all the fun he used to have. Yeah. So the enemy comes to distract you, to try to get you to go back to what you just came out of. But then you remember that you heard James 4:7 to say, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee. So you resist him. You go back to your spot, all the way back down, all the way back down. And now this moment becomes a victory. Can we stop listen, can you stop waiting for the big thing to celebrate? The simple fact that you told the devil no and resisted his suggestion is a win. This becomes a victory. Now, when you step into the next moment, what happens is, let me give you these. Put it where you just came out of. That moment becomes a testimony. Right? So now, you're in this next stage. You made another step. Here comes the enemy. Now, he knows that he couldn't distract you, so now he works to try to defeat you. So he comes, and the first thing he normally hits is your finances. He hits your money. Stuff start going crazy. You're interacting with him. Tap his pockets. You're trying to remind him that things were better back there, and he's hitting your money. You don't know how you're going to survive. But then all of a sudden, you went to a Bible study. You heard Matthew 16:26 to say, what profit a man to gain the world and you lose his soul? So you resist him again. He goes back. You step into the next moment. That becomes a testimony. Now you're in this season. Come on back. And now what he does is he tries to hit your family. So he hits your family. He tries to weigh on your marriage. And then you're in this space now where you're trying to figure things out to know if this is where I'm supposed to be. I don't know what it is. And then you went to a Bible study at time of celebration and you heard 1 Corinthians 14:33 to know that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So you decide to choose reconciliation over retribution. You resist him. Now this moment becomes a testimony. Now you're in this place, he comes back again. The money didn't work. Your marriage didn't work, so now he hits your body. So now you're faced with diagnosis. Now you hear what the doctor say. Now you got all of this stuff pressed on you, and you don't have the strength to make it a Bible study. You don't even have the strength to open up your Bible, but you hid enough word in your heart. So now, Isaiah 53:5 starts to well up. He was wounded for my transgressions, bruised for my iniquities. The chastisement for my peace was upon him, and by his stripes I am healed. You resist him again. That becomes a testimony. Now, when you get here, he realizes that the defeat didn't work, so now he comes back, and what he tries to do in this season is try to get you to disqualify yourself. This is where he comes to remind you of all the stuff that you did. This is where guilt and shame and condemnation starts to live. And he wants to remind you of who you were back here. And he's trying to get you to weigh on yourself so you can say, you know what? I might as well throw in the towel because I'm unqualified. So it starts to work for a second. And you start to turn back. But then you heard your grandmama say, John 8:36, who the Son sets free is truly free. So you resist him again. This becomes a testimony. Now, this is how close you are to the promise. And now what happens is he comes back with everything he got. And now you're in the season where you're being distracted, where he's working to defeat you, where he's working to try to get you to disqualify yourself. And you're like, it's coming from all angles. I don't have no peace. I can't even hear you, God. It's too much going on. And you're getting tired here. And then right when you throw in the towel, you say, wait a minute. Come with me. Pick this up. I remember when you told me it was better back then. And I resisted you and you left me alone. I remember when I didn't know how it was going to come out. And all of my money was gone. And somehow God made it. I remember when that you said my marriage was going to end. But now I realize that this threefold cord is not easily broken. I remember when the doctor said he would never walk. I'm sorry, that was mine. I'm sorry, that was mine. I remember when the doctor said I'd never walk again. And I walked out of the hospital, they said I'd die. And I remember when that you hit me with everything you got. And God stepped in. And he showed up and showed his power. So now what happens, you come up here. Now what I want you to do is just put the cones around him, surrounding him. Because if you want to trap the enemy, resurrect the testimony. Because he can argue the what ifs. What he can't argue is your experience with God. So now he's trapped going into your purpose. Because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word. I feel God in here.